not only do I not know which one to choose, I start to become fearful of like, how will I ever have enough time or possibility to bring all of these ideas to fruition? And when we get that overwhelmed, like there's research on this, right? Have you ever heard about the jelly thing? If you give the two choices of jelly, it's really easy to pick and you'll feel satisfied. They give you 20 choices of jelly and you're like, I don't know which kind of jelly I want. The Creative Spotlight with Emily Udabadi. Episode 12, Creative Paralysis. What to do with too many ideas. Scene 1, take 1, action. Hello, creative souls. Welcome back. Today, let's talk about being paralyzed. Creatively paralyzed. I don't know about you, but I sometimes suffer from creative overwhelm. If you're watching this, you're probably a creative of some kind of medium. And most of us creatives rarely lack from not having an idea. Instead, we suffer from having too many. So if that's you and you get overwhelmed by so many ideas, I call that creative paralysis. Then I sit there and I'm like, well, what do I do? And I actually have kind of started to panic or worry, right? Like there's so many ideas. And not only do I not know which one to choose, I start to become fearful of like, how will I ever have enough time or possibility to bring all of these ideas to fruition? And when we get that overwhelmed, like there's research on this, right? Have you ever heard about the jelly thing? If you give the two choices of jelly, it's really easy to pick and you'll feel satisfied. They give you 20 choices of jelly and you're like, I don't know which kind of jelly I want, right? Like this is a scientific thing. Our brains freak out. And I don't know about you, but I've never only had 2 creative jellies in my mind. I always have at least 20 and probably realistically more. And it used to really like tug at me. And then one day I kind of had this vision, this imagery. It was a very meditative experience. And it completely changed this. And I haven't suffered from creative paralysis since then. Or when it starts to sneak its way in, I know what to do with it. So you can close your eyes for this part if you want. I'm kind of going to guide you through an image that I invite you to use. Oh, I would be so honored if like I wasn't the only one using this image and there were all these little creative baddies out there like using this image and we kind of meet each other in the lagoon, if you will. Okay, deal with me. So here's how I protect my creative ideas and here's how I calm myself when I'm like, oh God, what do I do next? So I imagine this beautiful lagoon, this beautiful blue pool of water, and it's surrounded by these gorgeous jungle leaves and trees. If you've seen my background, then you know I love the jungle. And so it's this beautiful, serene place, and it's worldly, but it's so serene, it's almost otherworldly. You know what I mean? Like it's just so gorgeous and ethereal. And in this beautiful pool of water, there's all of these spirals, these whirlpools of energy. And it kind of doesn't make sense. Like that's not how ponds work. But there's all of these spirals just going in their own which way. And you can kind of glance out and see them. And it's not chaotic. Like this whirlpool exists over here. And this one exists here. And this one's really big, but it exists here. And there's 15 more over there. But there's this calm essence to it of like, this is just how it is. And there's these big, beautiful flowers and lily pads with these giant lotuses, and it smells amazing. And it's this place that you want to be. You literally want to sit on a lily pad in the middle of the lagoon and just exist with all of these whirlpools swirling around you. Now, each of these whirlpools represents a creative idea that is yours, a creative project. It could be a poem. It could be a new show, a new song, a new painting, a new line of jewelry that you want to do in gold, right? Like whatever it is, all of your different visions exist, each one its own unique whirlpool. Now, a few of those, or perhaps just one of those, is no longer just a whirlpool spinning between the surface, but it's actually coming up and out. And it's kind of taking this statue-like form. To me, it looks kind of like a beautiful Grecian statue, but made of swirling water. It's just like it's in motion, but it's also contained. And to me, those are the ideas that I'm giving myself over to. So I'm producing a new show, this one show, not those 16 show ideas, but this one. And so this one is swirling out in the water so beautifully. And maybe there's a couple others that are like starting to emerge and come up out of the water, because those are ideas that I'm starting to nurture and play into. Not only is this imagery so peaceful and beautiful to me, but what it does is it allows all of my creative ideas to be safe and well, and they're protected and alive in the lagoon. And these ideas will wait for me patiently, eternally, until I'm ready to give them my full attention. And so there's no more worry that, like, I'm going to forget an idea. It's going to fall out of existence. I'll never have enough time or resources to do all of them. All of those fears and overwhelming thoughts go away, because I know that all of my visions are safe in the lagoon, and they will wait for me patiently until I'm ready to give them my fullest attention. And then this whirlpool over here is the one that I can give my attention to and really build it and sculpt it and create it and bring it fully to life. Now, hopefully this vision feels really like warm and heartfelt and serene to you, and you're already dumping all your creative ideas into the lagoon and letting them just spin with sort of waiting like energy. But how do we choose which one to bring up and build and bring into being? And do we only choose one? So the easiest way to choose is to follow your excitement. Which one of those many ideas excites you the most? Go in that direction. Like, that's the easiest way. Your excitement will fuel the energy, will fuel the momentum, will help you get creative to find the resources you need to bring the thing to life. I encourage you to follow your excitement. Now, do we only choose one? You could. There would certainly be nothing wrong with that. But I know us creatives be like, just one, but I want to do like 18 things. So if that's you, here's how I manage this so I don't feel overwhelmed and disorganized and spread too thin to the point where I can't give my best vision, my best work to each project. I have project departments. You do too. You might not realize it yet, but we all have departments in our lives, or since I'm an actress, multiple roles that I like to play. So my biggest whirlpool, the one that's emerging into this beautiful Grecian statue made of water, is usually the one that's going on at my theater. It's the new show that we're producing. It's the core of the work that I'm doing. And I'll give the bulk of my work attention to that one thing. And maybe I have a couple other tiny things I've got going on in my work world, but there is a beast, a beautiful beast, that is getting the bulk of my attention. Not all of my creative endeavors, though, fall into my work life. I have other creative endeavors that fall into different areas of my life, like my personal life or my family life. And so those are my two other departments, if you will. So for instance, in my personal life, I might be working on, here's a big one actually, one of my biggest creative projects that's just barely starting to bubble up the surface, is that I am working to create a private nature reserve in Costa Rica. That is the acquirement of land so that I can protect it as a nature reserve, because, as I mentioned, I love the jungle. That's huge, and that's going to take time. But that doesn't mean that I should not start working on it. It actually means, because of its scale, that I should allow it to start bubbling up. It's going to take research, daydreaming, outreach, learning of how to bring this thing to life. Here's what's cool. The land already exists. The flora and fauna in it already exists. My dream already exists. So this is really about assembling them, about bringing them together, right? And we could actually say this about most of our artwork. All the pieces already exist. Our job as creators is kind of bringing them together. For my theater, my actors already exist. They're beautiful human beings. My idea exists. The theater exists. I'm just assembling them, right? So that's a big one from my personal life. So I'm letting it start to bubble above the surface. But when I go to work, like when I go into work mode, I'm not working on that one, because that's a different department. So that's something I would save for my personal time. Or it might not be so big. I might be like, I want to learn a new makeup technique. It's a small one that I would work on while I'm doing the makeup. My family category might look more like, right now is kind of a big one for us. My son wants to replace our current playground that we have in the backyard with a pirate ship playground. So excited. I love this. But I don't build stuff really. So this is a big one. We have to learn together how to build a thing. So that's one that I'm keeping in the family department. So when I'm immersed in family time, that's one that I'm going to want to do in that timeline. So another one that I might put into that category of family would be my anniversary is coming up. So I'm writing a poem for my husband because that's what I do. But do you see how the departments start to serve me well? And it's not that I can't have more than one creative project going on, but it's that this one's in this department. So I work on this when I'm in this department, and this one's in this department, and this one's in this department. And so now I can manage and organize and not feel overwhelmed by the idea of having multiple creative things going on at once, because they each have a time and a space on the clock, and I'm able to manage a handful of them at once. Now, that said, I guarantee you there are many more whirlpools swirling in that beautiful lagoon that just aren't getting my attention yet. And that's okay, because I know where they are, I know they're safe, and I know they'll wait for me eternally. So I invite you to share with me this image that I've built out for you and put your creative ideas into it. Let them spin without your effort or attention. They are there, they are safe. And then I invite you secondarily to examine your own departments. Maybe you just have one. That's cool, that's fine. But if you have several, examine and name those departments. Decide what they are, and then you can kind of have a project or two happening in each department at a time. And you may just become not only satisfied with the sensation of feeling organized, that everything has a time and space, but even more satisfied by going, wow, I get to be creative in almost every aspect of my life without feeling overwhelmed or tapped out. So that's a wrap, my darling. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do consider diving deeper into the creative pool with me. Sign up for our newsletter. The link is in the description. Now, go do your creative work.